Hi everyone, today I'm going to be demonstrating how to work Kitchener stitch. So this is a technique for invisibly grafting two sets of live stitches together. What you end up with is another row of stitches, so it creates a completely seamless join. Now the instructions for Kitchener stitch can sometimes seem daunting to people, but there is a useful way of working through. It's a series of steps. There's a mantra you can say to yourself as you're going through to help you get through it. This is in the notes in the course, and I've just printed it off here for my benefit because I also have to make sure that I know what I'm doing each time I try this. Let's start. I've got two sets of live stitches here, 10 on each needle. The needles are facing to the left, and I've got the yarn from the back there threaded onto a tapestry needle. Now you don't have to use the yarn from the knitting, you can use fresh yarn if you want to, but I always find it's useful to do that. The first step is a setup step, and you take your yarn and you insert the tapestry needle through the front stitch of the left needle as if to purl. Okay, so there we go, as if you were purling that stitch. Take it all the way through and pull the yarn through, not too tight. The second step is to take your needle through the first stitch in the back needle as if to knit. Now, when I first learned Kitchener stitch, this really confused me, but it's as if you were knitting that stitch but facing this way. Okay, hope that makes sense. So as if to knit is through that way on the first stitch of the back needle. Pull it through. I'll just get rid of these stray yarns. Here we go. Just pull it through and leave it there. Okay, so they're the two setup rows. Now we move on to the repeat of 4 steps. So I will talk you through it, but also I'll remind you about this mantra as we go through. So the first step is to insert the tapestry needle through the first stitch on the front needle as if to knit. Pull the yarn through and take that stitch off the front needle. Okay? Don't pull anything too tight at the moment. The second step is to insert the tapestry needle through the first stitch on the front needle as if to purl. So this next stitch here as if to purl. Take it through, but don't take it off the needle. Now we move to the back needle for step 3. Insert it into the back needle first stitch as if to purl. Okay. Pull it all through. And take that stitch off. Just tighten this up a little bit. There. Step 4, insert the tapestry needle through the first stitch on the back needle as if to knit, but don't take it off. Okay, now I know that all seems pretty confusing at the moment. So let's start working the mantra for the repeats. This is this section here. So in the front needle, knit, needle through, tapestry needle through as if to knit and off the needle. Knit, and off. Next stitch, purl and on. To the back, purl and off. Knit and on. Front, knit and off. Front, purl and on. Back, purl and off. Back, knit and on. Just stop in there to show you that that looks just like it's been knitted. That's where we've joined these two sets of live stitches together. So let's carry on. We've just done the back needle, let's do the front. So the front is knit and off. Purl and on. Back, purl and off. Back, knit and on. Front, knit and off. Front, purl and on. Oops. Back, purl and off. Back, knit and on. Front, knit and off. Front, purl and on. Back, purl and off. Back, knit and on. Let's just have another little look. So as you go, you may need to make a few little adjustments. Actually, that's pretty good. You stretch it out a little bit, you can see that that's virtually invisible join. Let me just show you the back. Just the same as if you had knitted those stitches yourself. You can see why this is so useful for things like socks and so on, where you don't really want a seam at the top of your toe. Okay, so let's just carry on to the end. I'm just going to line my needles up a little bit. I've finished on the back. So the next one is the front. So the front mantra is knit off, purl on, then the back is purl off, knit on, front, knit off, front, purl on, back, purl off, back, knit on, front, knit off, be careful when you get towards the end because the stitches get a bit loose. Front, purl on, back, purl off, and back, knit on. Okay, so we've gone all the way across. Look at that, isn't that fantastic? Oh, it's lovely. It's a piece of art. When you get to the end, you just go through the first needle as if to knit and take it off. You haven't got another stitch left on that needle, so you don't need to worry about it. And then finally through the back stitch as if to purl and off. So there we have Kitchener stitch worked across two sets of live stitches in stockinette stitch, and it just creates another row of stitches. You don't need to be scared of it, but you do need to concentrate. And the mantra is very useful. as I've just used it, but also really concentrate when you get to the end. And believe me, Kitchener stitch is not that easy to unravel. Ask me how I know that. So concentrate and you can produce that lovely, lovely effect.